all of the injuries happening across the world of the WWE, it's really left a lot of question marks for WrestleMania, and one of the biggest question marks being who will Gunther defend the Intercontinental Championship against at WrestleMania. And understandably so, the Intercontinental Championship is one of the most sought after prizes in the WWE, all in part of Gunther's fantastic reign as Intercontinental Champion, a fighting Intercontinental Champion that not only defends the belt on a semi-regular basis, but also consistently puts on some of the best matches of the year. So it's understandable that fans are a little bit weary in terms of what the plans are going to be for Gunther now that Brock Lesnar is no longer a viable option. It's actually super telling of just how dominant of an Intercontinental Champion Gunther is that they were willing to give him Brock freaking Lesnar and probably have him beat Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar holding the Intercontinental Championship wouldn't have made any sense. However, that's no longer in the books. We can't really cry over spilled milk, so we need to put our head down, we need to improvise, and we need to move on. So today I'm going to give you 10 options that I would like the WWE to explore in terms of Gunther's next opponent at this year's WrestleMania. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm confident you're going to fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into it. One of the options that we need to explore, and frankly, one of my favorite options here in this list, is not for Gunther to defend the Intercontinental Championship, but instead for Gunther to go after the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins. Now, this is a match, and this is a feud that was already alluded to prior to the Royal Rumble, where Gunther called a shot, said he was going to win the Royal Rumble and go directly after Seth Rollins. In fact, he said that he was excited at the prospect, and he's happy that Seth Rollins is not relinquishing the championship. So clearly, at some point down the line, that was a likely inevitable feud that was going to happen. However, with Gunther not winning the Royal Rumble, it looked like all of that was going to go out the window, with Cody Rhodes winning and then going off to face Roman Reigns, and then most likely CM Punk going off to face Seth Rollins. However, now that CM Punk is injured, to me, the most logical move here is to have Seth Rollins have a banger with Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. However, it seems like the WWE isn't going to be going in this route. At least as of the making of this video, there are no narrative threads that make me believe so, because it seems that they're either going to be doing Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes Part 4 at WrestleMania, but I still think that that's a bait and switch. I truly in my heart believe that Cody Rhodes is still going to go after Roman Reigns. But then the other most likely option, with how good of a heel he's been, I think Drew McIntyre is the guy that the WWE might be pegging to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. So it doesn't, at the very least right now, it doesn't look good for Gunther versus Seth Rollins as a viable prospect. But let's pretend that we do somehow land there, that Gunther does end up winning some sort of opportunity to go there. Even that seems unlikely, because I bet the Elimination Chamber match is probably going to be for an opportunity at Seth Rollins World Heavyweight Championship, and Gunther isn't going to be on the show. So again, we're really losing the possibilities of getting Seth Rollins versus Gunther here. But again, just pretend with me. If it does happen, it would be a fantastic match. I know a lot of people would instantly raise an eyebrow in terms of, well, what the hell would happen to the Intercontinental Championship? Let's face it, Gunther is a fighting champion. The only reason he's a heel is because he's mean. But in terms of the work that he puts out there, like he is somebody that we need to idolize in terms of his work rate. I wouldn't be surprised if Gunther would be down to have a night 1 match where he's challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship and a night 2 match where he's defending the Intercontinental Championship. That's how much of a workhorse Gunther is. So I don't think that we need to completely dismiss the Intercontinental Championship completely out of the picture, even if he were to go after Seth Rollins. So just food for thought. I still really like this possibility. The other option in terms of narrative threads that I'm reading, it's Big E, because Imperium has been feuding and having a fantastic feud, might I add, with the New Day, a feud that's gotten violent and incredibly personal, especially between Ludwig Kaiser and Kofi Kingston. I think inevitably there's going to be a point where Gunther gets involved in here. You know, the big final boss, Daddy Gunther, comes in and really sways the odds towards Imperium, really setting up a perfect place for Big E to return. And if Big E does return, I don't think that there's a bigger return match for him than a match at WrestleMania with Gunther. Let's not forget as well that Gunther was pegged to have a match with a former WWE champion in Brock Lesnar. I know that Big E doesn't have the same accolades and really the same aura and mystique as Brock Lesnar, but this can help maybe satisfy that itch to have Gunther face somebody nobody that's been in that main event caliber scene, because Big E has been there, done that. On top of that, god damn it, would that match be fantastic. I would love to see Big E versus Gunther. Look, I just mostly want to see Big E come back, if I'm being honest with you. I don't want to ask too much of this world. Just please come back, Big E, and please come back healthy. Please don't retire. I just really hope that's the case. But if he does come back and it's with Gunther, I won't be mad. Folks, if you want even more wrestling content, consider checking out patreon.com/SantiZap, where you're going to get my Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, NXT reviews. You're also going to get the monthly mailbag. You're also going to get the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everyone else. In fact, this week's episode is already out. I recorded it with Suplex, where we talked a lot about the Royal Rumble and his experience being there live. Okay, again, patreon.com/SantiZap. Check the description, check the pinned comment. I'm done. Back to the video. Another option that I'm seeing circulating the internet as a possibility for him to face at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship is none other than NXT call-up Bron Breakker. Right now, it seems like Bron Breakker took the spot of Brock Lesnar at the Rumble. That seems to be the universal belief. He had all of the same spots, all of the same eliminations, and got eliminated the exact same way. So I guess I understand why people are saying, well, if they replace Brock Lesnar with Bron Breakker at the Rumble, why not just completely replace everything that Brock Lesnar was meant to do with Bron Breakker, including that match against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship? I get it. I get the desire to want to pull the trigger on something like that so quickly, because I guess on paper it does make sense. Okay, all right, no Brock Lesnar. All right, put in Bron Breakker, 2 + 2 = 4. But I think in this situation, it's not the same, because Bron Breakker going after the Intercontinental Championship would be the Intercontinental Champion Gunther and the Intercontinental Championship helping elevate Bron Breakker, while the goal of the Brock Lesnar feud would have been for Brock Lesnar to help elevate Gunther and the Intercontinental Championship. Bron Breakker actually doesn't provide that same end result that Brock Lesnar was meant to provide. So it's not exactly apples to apples here, but like I said, I understand the desire. From a selfish point of view on my end, I'd take that, because that would be a fantastic match. We saw a little bit of a glimpse of it at the Royal Rumble, but I bet in a proper match setting, this would be an absolute slobber knocker. I would love to see Gunther versus Bron Breakker on a main scene. However, I think it might be a little bit too quick, a little bit too soon for Bron Breakker, even if he is destined for superstardom. It does also look like he's moving to the main roster. However, it looks like he's going to SmackDown, which kind of keeps him away from Gunther. So I'm not sure how we are going to be able to connect those two, if that is the plan. But yeah, I think it's a possibility that we need to entertain. It's not my favorite, though. A possibility that I would love for the WWE to explore is Gunther versus Master Chatty Daddy Gable Part 4. Let's not forget that out of the 3 matches that they had, Chad Gable oh my God, I didn't mean to give you guys the middle finger, my bad. Chad Gable really got the upper hand on 2 of the 3. I'm not editing this out. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, it seems like the WWE has really completely moved away from the thought of having Gable be the one to dethrone Gunther, even though it was like a red hot possibility back in the late summer and early autumn months. But now it seems like the WWE has completely moved away from that Chad Gable has more so regressed back to a comedy manager character. However, he just had a banger with Ivar, so maybe, I don't know, maybe things will repeat again. He will rebuild himself back up to a possible rematch with Gunther, a rematch that would probably steal the show at WrestleMania, because they were stealing the show on Raw with commercial breaks, for God's sake. They were putting on Contender of the Year, for God's sake. Come on. If you put that at WrestleMania, it would be absolutely phenomenal. But I think you need to do a lot of work with Gable to really hype him and build him back up to be that genuine threat to Gunther, because right now, let's be honest, he's not, but they can build him, and I think they have enough time to build him to be that threat to Gunther. Once again, I'm sorry for giving you the middle finger. I promise you I didn't mean to. Another option is for us to revisit the feud between Gunther and Sheamus, a feud that gave us 2 instant classics, the match between them at Clash of the Castle and the triple threat at last year's WrestleMania with Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. So we know that if we were to put these guys in the ring, that they would absolutely deliver a fantastic match. I know it's something that we've seen before, but I mean, I like good things more than once. I don't know about you. I don't know why anyone would complain about this, because it would just be another great match again. I really don't see the downside in that. On top of that, it puts us in a position to actually maybe dethrone Gunther, because there's very few people, in my opinion, that I genuinely believe can bear the burden of dethroning a championship of the caliber of the Intercontinental Champion right now, Gunther, who is on a historic run, longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. I think whoever you put that on needs to be somebody that can bear that burden. And Sheamus is. Sheamus will barely feel that burden because he's already a Hall of Famer. And this would actually really elevate his resume here towards the end of his career by making him a full Grand Slam champion. Like, the Intercontinental Championship is one of the few prizes that's left for Sheamus to really vie after. Again, I know we're just kind of repeating things, but I don't know, man. Like, if you give me a good chocolate bar this year and then you tell me, hey, this really good chocolate bar, I'm going to give it to you again. You really think I'm going to turn it down? Oh no, I want a different experience with that chocolate bar. I want a different, no, dude. Take the good chocolate bar. You know it's good. When I look at the main event scene on Monday Night Raw, somebody that stands out to me is somebody that is, of course, a main event caliber player, but doesn't really have something to do at the moment, is Sami Zayn. I know he's embroiled in this feud with Drew McIntyre. However, it seems like it's a feud that doesn't actually have any legs, because they already had a match where Drew McIntyre more or less won clean on Monday Night Raw. And I'm sure that they're probably going to have more interactions at Elimination Chamber, but I don't think we're at the point where Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre is a worthy WrestleMania program. Instead, I would love to see Sami Zayn turn his head to Gunther, because Sami has already made it his character, both with what his actions do and with his words, that he is here to topple the ones that oppress the weak. He is here to take out the likes of the Judgment Day, who use their power in numbers to be able to belittle and take over the ring and take over Monday Night Raw and take out other superstars. And I think Gunther kind of fits that bill as well. Somebody who uses his strength, uses his power, uses his strength in numbers again in Imperium to overcome a lot of the odds. And I think that a narrative of Sami Zayn trying to topple that, and on top of that, trying to topple a historic reign like Gunther's, really is in line with his character. Plus, I mean, that match would be absolutely phenomenal as well. A match between Gunther and Andrade at WrestleMania, I mean, from an in-ring perspective, would be absolutely phenomenal. However, I just don't see how we can build a good enough narrative with how obviously little time we've had with Andrade since he's been back in the WWE. Again, if we're just wanting a good match, sure, give us Gunther versus Andrade. It's just a simple equation there. I'm sure they'll put on a fantastic match. However, if we want a feud, something for us to really latch onto, I don't think that Andrade is the right guy right now. I think that he can be, but I still think that we need to re-warm ourselves up to Andrade. This also does beg the question of, like, what do you do with Andrade? And I know that a logical answer from many of you would be to put him with Gunther, but I still think it's a little bit too early, a little too soon. In fact, I would like to see Andrade versus Gunther perhaps being a marquee feud throughout the summer instead of WrestleMania. Here's one that would absolutely melt all of our ball sacks if you have one. It would be a match against Ilia Dragunov. If you don't know who Ilia Dragunov is because you mostly just watch the main roster, Ilia Dragunov is the current NXT champion, and he was also a former NXT UK champion. And there is a lot of history that I'll get to in just a second. But in terms of match quality, we already know it would be fantastic. We already know that it would be a guaranteed match of the year, no ifs, ands, or buts. Gunther routinely has match of the year candidates. Ilia Dragunov routinely has match of the year candidates. And when you put these two together, they've done it before, and they put match of the fucking decade candidates. I'm not exaggerating on that either. Go watch Walter versus Ilia Dragunov matches from back in NXT UK and NXT Black and Gold. They will absolutely melt your brain with how good they are. However, for us to get to this point, we need Ilia Dragunov to drop this title belt right before WrestleMania, which would likely put us at Vengeance Day this upcoming Sunday, which I'm recording this before that, where he has a matchup against Trick Williams. If he loses the title at that show, I see a world where there is a possibility where the WWE calls up Ilia Dragunov and tries to speed up this feud with Gunther, because that feud would absolutely be phenomenal. If you want a little bit more I guess, extra narrative. Unlike Andrade, that really has no ties to Gunther, Ilia Dragunov does. Ilia Dragunov is really the last guy to beat Gunther clean. Ilia Dragunov is the guy that ended Walter back then, Walter's reign as the longest reigning NXT UK champion of 800 plus days. It's kind of full circle here that it would be Ilia Dragunov doing it again now on a main roster stage in a huge stage like WrestleMania. I think that this is, if anything, more likely for Bash in Berlin, well, with both of them having close ties to Germany, but it could happen at WrestleMania. I just don't think that we have enough time to get there, but it'd be awesome. If you're really dead set on giving Gunther a Brock Lesnar-esque type, then look no further than Bobby Lashley. I think right now Bobby Lashley is somebody that if we were to really look at the landscape of feuds that are available to him, there aren't that many that are WrestleMania worthy that don't involve, going after a world title. I don't think that the feud with Karrion Kross has the legs to go all the way into WrestleMania. I think that it probably has enough legs for Elimination Chamber. So if you're looking for a marquee feud for Bobby Lashley and you're wanting to elevate Gunther and the Intercontinental Championship, I think you pair these two guys up. I don't think it needs much narrative. It's just a guy that's at the top of his game, near the top of the mountain in Bobby Lashley, trying to climb a different type of mountain, that being Mount Gunther. Again, if you just want that Brock Lesnar-esque type match, I don't think you need to look much further outside of the WWE. You should just go with Bobby Lashley. And last but certainly not least, I promise you I have not forgotten about the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, who as of the making of this video hasn't signed with anybody, but also as of the making of this video, he's officially a free agent and can sign with the WWE. For those of you who don't know who Okada is, he's basically like the face of New Japan Pro Wrestling. The way that, if I want to explain it to in layman's terms, think of like the John Cena of New Japan Pro Wrestling, except he's incredibly good in the ring, putting some of the best matches that you could conceivably think of. He's good. I'm telling you, if WWE can get him, this is a huge get. The way that we could get to Okada versus Gunther, we could be in a scenario similar to Seth Rollins going into WrestleMania 38, where he has no one to feud against except the day of when Cody Rhodes showed up. I wouldn't hate if Gunther goes out there, throws out an open challenge for an Intercontinental Championship match because he doesn't have one, and it's answered by the Rainmaker Okada. I'm telling you, this match might accidentally destroy planet Earth. It might start a fission reaction that might open up a black hole in the middle of Philadelphia that would engulf not just the planet, but reality itself. That's what could happen if we get Okada versus Gunther. I mean, I know this is a reach. I know I'm dreaming here, but I don't think that this is an unrealistic dream. I think it's something that if the WWE really wanted to get it done, they could, because he's available. Just saying. All right, folks, that's it for me. Let me know in the comments of this video give me the top three people that you would like to see Gunther face at WrestleMania, because I know it's hard to pick just one. Give me your top three. We'll go through them. We'll discuss civilly, because this is actually a pretty chill comment section, but that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.